Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to our first LIGNA webinar here from Hanover. We are present here with 4 people. My name is Pfeiffer. I'm responsible for LIGNA here at Deutsche Messe. To my right, to your left, Ms. Miriam Aitken from our technical department, as well as Mr. Gründer in a black suit, and Mr. Girgin, also on my right and your left. Different, but welcome everyone. We have a complex situation running up to LIGNA 2021, and we would like to focus on this webinar today on the technical requirements and the changes we are facing in planning your booths, your presentations. And before we start, I would like to switch now to the presentation. And now you should see a presentation with our beautiful grounds. And we are going into a couple of organizational details right now. You will see a red light in the upper third of your screen that shows that we are recording this webinar, but there won't be any pictures or names or visuals recorded from you or your presence due to data protection reasons. We will only record the audio line so that we can put it online later for your second hearing or a streaming on demand for people who cannot attend right now. During the course of the webinar, you are able to ask questions via the chat function within this tool you are experiencing right now, or write an email to our email address, which is ligna-webinars@messe.de. This is how you can reach us live in the chat or via email. My colleagues from the LIGNA-Team are outside clustering the questions that will be answered after the course of this webinar in a separate question and answer part right in the right at the end of this presentation. We will also publish all relevant questions and answers after this meeting on the website. And of course, you can address your personal questions in regards to your presentation to the team present here today, and of course, the LIGNA team. That's the agenda for today. The topics we will start with is a short update for LIGNA 21. What are we looking at? What's the situation right now? And what is most important, what are the regulations for holding or running a show here in Hanover during May next year? What can we foresee, and what kind of measurements have to be taken for your stand planning, and what is important to take into your organization, into your planning? This is a part that will be done by our technical department, and after that I will go into some details in regards to catering and network events and stand parties, booth parties, and of course, as I mentioned, the questions and answers at the end of this webinar. LIGNA 21, that's a little too far. LIGNA 21 will appear as LIGNA 2019, so we will occupy 10 halls around the open air site. We will start, of course, in hall 25, 26 with the primary industry, then going into solid woodworking in hall 27 and hall 12, and then when it comes to board manufacturing, surface treatment in hall 17, and then running through hall 15, 14, 15, and 11 and 12. So there's no major change at all in this very logical planning of the show. And we will, that's the foreseen right now, also occupy all 10 halls. We have or we are facing larger aisles due to the regulations we are experiencing from the government. But this is possible here on the ground so that we don't have major changes at all. The only thing that changed is the name for the dark green area, which was formerly forestry technology. We added to the name the sawn timber production and the roundwood production. So this is the only change we have right now. And I think that gives a lot of stability, and also there are no major changes, not at all, within the whole planning when it comes to the key accounts and technology drivers. This is actually a sheet where you can see that the main innovation drivers, the main technology drivers, and of course the market leaders are present at upcoming Ligna. That's the planning. Every brand, every major brand in the world of woodworking is present already and is preparing Ligna presentation right now. So this is what, this is of course just a small takeout of the brands and companies who will be present, but I think that's a good picture and a great overview of what is going to happen. What are the main drivers in the industry for 21? We published those focus topics starting of this year already. So more than 1 year before Ligna is taking place, we communicated these focus topics so that all exhibitors can prepare their stands and their booths in regards to those main topics. Of course, we will develop the topic of automation and digitalization, and we gave it, we're handling this under the headline of woodworking transformation, and trying to realize or to show what's going to happen within the industry, within the workshops. What are the next steps in transformation and adapting digitalization? The second focus topic is prefab building processes. So timber construction is the topic that is on every political agenda, not only in Europe, but around the world. And all relevant technology can be seen at Ligna. And many people are looking forward to the capacities that will grow in production and manufacturing around the world. So this is a highly discussed topic in the industry for the time being, and of course for the future. And green material processing, the third focus topic, is a topic that is a very interesting and very important future venture for, of course, European, but also South American and North American companies. How can fibers be put into a new form, into a new format, put into new developments in regards to using a raw material that is regrowing, and using the right technology for it will be Ligna's way to deal with it, so that we can give the companies who are developing machines, technology and processes for it, we can give them a trade show home and a great platform to develop the business. So what's the status right now with Ligna? Since Ligna 2019, 1.5 years ago, we had no major trade show in the world catering to this industry. And we will develop Ligna 2021 into a hybrid event. So we will have not only the present show, but also add hybrid, means internet-based and of course online presentations, content formats, and so on and so on. We will inform in a later course about those details. We are currently developing formats for this hybrid events, and as this is the first webinar, we will have more webinar contents, more webinar dates for exactly those contents. So we will get into more detail when it comes to technical requirements, but also when it comes to those new formats. So this is just the start of a course of about 3 webinars before LIGNA in May 21. The situation in Germany right now is stable. We had the first trade shows already held here in Germany, especially in Düsseldorf and Berlin. So we also here in Hanover are looking up to the INFA trade show that it will be held in October. We already had concepts, hygiene concepts that were confirmed by the government for shows in autumn already. That means Euro Tier and Euro Black were confirmed when it comes to the security measurements. And so we are prepared for the different industries and prepared when it comes to all hygienic and security measures to hold the trade show here on our grounds. Before we have LIGNA here on the ground, we will have named Eurotier and Euroblack on our grounds in March, and of course in April Hannover Messe. And due to the situation, we changed the Domotex dates from January to May 22 to 22nd. This is very close to LIGNA. It's just the week after LIGNA, and Domotex will occupy the eastern part of the grounds, and we will have fences and relevant barriers so that we can separate both trade shows and trade grounds from each other. So what did we do up to today when it comes to terms and conditions and measurements from our side, from the project team? We extended our early booking discount until 31st of June. We gave you a period until 31st of December where you don't have to pay any cancellation fees according to numbers 10.1 and 10.2 in our terms and conditions. And we are also suspending number 8 in our terms and conditions. That means that we were usually in the situation to take 25% retention in the event of cancellation by Deutsche Messe, but we're not doing anything like that. So if we, as an organizer, cancel the show, shorten the show, or move it to a different date, we won't keep 25% of your payment, or your upfront payment for the square meters. We will, if you already paid for that, reimburse all of those 25% in total. So this is, I think, a good risk minimization for you as a exhibitor, so that you can plan and concentrate on the complex situation we already have. We also postponed the first LIGNA Rosenheim conference until 2022, so that we can use all the advantages that Rosenheim in detail offers, but this is something we didn't want to put into the digital world, because this is something we need to do right there with people present. All the questions we already answered are available on our website under the news and FAQ section. And all technical requirements updates are also available in the shop, so that if you enter the shop, it will be right there. Everything can be reviewed by you and your stand builder and service provider, so that you can update yourself in a very rational way. The press preview is planned for February 17th, and I think this is a good milestone where we're all working up to, so that we can tell the world what great LIGNA we are planning and what great LIGNA trade show we are heading for. So what is the impact of the current regulations we are getting from our county and from our government. In accordance with Lower Saxonies, this is the county we are living here in, Hanover, we are getting the always the current issue of guidelines we have to take into consideration for trade shows. So there's a special mixture of regulations we have to take into consideration, and this is everything we tell you today is based on exactly those regulations. So what we are facing is, of course, as an organizer, we using different kind of measures. We start with only selling tickets online. We will have higher disinfection cycles for every public area. We will have to take recordings of everyone entering the fairground in setup, in breakdown, and of course during the show. We will have, of course, relevant plans for bringing enough fresh air through our ventilation systems into the halls to minimize a possible infection during the trade show and during setup and dismantling. I already mentioned that we need to take every contact detail in a certain meaning from people who are entering the showground. So we will only sell tickets online. We will have data recordings, or we have to have data recordings during construction and of course during dismantling and of course during the show. So every visitor entering your stand and staying longer than 15 minutes has to be recorded, and the requirements are mentioned on the very end of the slide. So we will have to record your name, first name, full address, telephone number, and contact period. So if someone stays less than 15 minutes, we are not saving the contact details. We are actually right now working on a software solution, an application solution for your mobile devices that your sales team or your service team can scan our badge that is produced at the entrance situation, and as soon as it's checked into your stand, the time will run down, and if someone stays longer than 15 minutes, it will be recorded, so that you not only need to check in, but you also need to check out the visitors entering your booth. But we are planning to give you this software solution without any cost attached, and we will take care also of the data security measurements that have to be taken, so that you are provided with a proper solution to record this the digital way. More information on that will be given definitely in the due course of the upcoming webinars here in the upcoming weeks. For us as a organizer, as a trade show organizer, we need to ensure that for every person that is on the showground, 4 square meters are available. That is easy to do at the Ligna grounds. You don't need to definitely calculate this for your booth. The main thing is you need to have 1.5 meters distance to the people, and if you cannot hold this distance in this 1.5 meters, people need to use the classical nose face mask to ensure that everyone is secure. The entrances and also the exits are contactless, or will be organized contactless. We will separate entrance and exit, as you know this already from restaurants and from supermarkets. We will have barrier tapes where we will have barrier tapes that can be used as guidance systems if necessary. And of course, we will inform all visitors, all exhibitors about the COVID-19 measurements and regulations. And of course, where needed, we will have barriers and service points so that people are not getting too close to each other and can be in a secure surrounding with asked people or asking question people. That's so far from my side, the first part. I would like to hand over to Miriam Aitken now from the technical department to get into more details when it comes to your stand planning. To keep the distance, we will now actually rotate our seats, and I will give space to Miriam. There you go.
Hello, good afternoon from my side. Miriam Aitken speaking. We will have a short introduction now, first coming from the general part, planning of the halls, where we would like to show you which measures will be taken as the basis for then the stand planning. So it is about the rental floor plans with mandatory aisles, and actually, as Mr. Pfeiffer, Christian Pfeiffer already explained, it is all in accordance with the current version of the Law Saxony Corona Protection Ordinance. So for us as Deutsche Messe, it is crucial to comply with the requirements of distance rules. We have various interests that have to be taken into account. Maybe you could already switch to the next screen, please. So what is new with COVID-19? Mainly, you will see afterwards, we've got two pictures to explain it. The aisle widths have changed. So first, the 4 meter or originally 4 meter wide aisles have now been widened to 6 meters, and 3 meter aisles will not, there will be no 3 meter aisles. We have widened them up to 450. So it's 6 meters and 450. The widening of the aisles means a loss, or a difference in the rentable area. Maybe if you switch to the next screen. This is how we imagine it will work. If you see the upper picture, 6 meters wide, keeping a distance of 1.50 meters between every person on the fairground. That means with an aisle of 6 meters, you will have the possibility of 3 persons walking not in a one-way system, but in different directions in one aisle. That is part of what we are working at in general for Deutsche Messe. You see an aisle of 450, which allows 2 persons at the same time. And so maybe main aisle 6 meters and other aisles 450. That's our planning. Next, please. Here, this is our rental floor grid, how we are planning the halls, and it is just an image to show how we widened up this hall 13. The plan on the upper part is in the north. So on the left side, you see the west entrance, west 3, I think it is. So everything widened up so that when people are moving inside of the fairgrounds, they have space to keep the distance all over, as well as moving to the neighboring halls and into the fairgrounds. Yeah. And actually, this is the basis for the planning itself on the fairgrounds. And now we would like to take on the catalogue of measures, where my colleague, Mr. Christian Gründer, will explain more. Thank you.
Well, warm welcome and hello from my side to everybody out there. I'm Christian Gründer, member of the Technical Event Management Department. And I will tell you something about the catalogue of measures for protections against infection. What does the protection measures mean for stand planning? Of course, you can imagine that means a lot. We have divided the catalog into 3 different parts. The first part is about design, construction. I think we need one page before, page number 7. Yeah, that's right. Page number 20, yeah, that's right. The design, construction, organization of the exhibition stand is in the center of the first part. The second part is about catering and hospitality on stand areas, including external catering deliveries. And the third part is about the construction and dismantling of exhibition stands, including the site logistics. I'm just going to give you a short compression from the catalogue, showing the major rule that you see on the bottom of the page, the distance between people, 1.5 meters is the main rule that you have to take care for. The stand planning must be designed in such a way that a distance of 1.5 meters between people is guaranteed at all times. This results in a maximum person capacity for the stand. That means you have to take care that you don't let too many people onto the stand, that they cannot keep the distance of 1.5 meters between each other. So now we see on the next page what to do in case we can't keep all the time the distance. One of them, in case of non-compliance, is the constructive solution we call the funny name spit protection, which means hygiene protection against coughs, sneezes, and conversation with wet pronunciation. In the form of walls that you put in between people, made, for instance, made of plexiglass. Organizational solutions are also important and possible, like the so-called one-way regulation. You just let the people walk into one direction to avoid people facing nose to nose. And of course, there are a lot of pictograms underway, which you can use and you should use in the stand to show that in case you need to wear a mouth and nose cover. Another solution is, of course, you avoid constructions that are top covered. That means a roof construction that is totally closed, because then it will keep out the air ventilation of the hall. And this is what you need inside the stand for permanent change of air. Especially in meeting and lounge areas, you have to take care for this not covering of the roof. Entrances and exits of the stand areas must be defined, is another thing that you have to take into account when planning a stand, because you have to check during operation that not too many people are inside the stand. Remember what we just said one page before? The result is a maximum person capacity for the stand. Entrances and exit areas. So that is a key element to control how many people are on the stand. Instruction of exhibitor staff and service providers, like for instance caterers, on the stand, they must be informed about hygiene protection and the procedures that you have to respect inside the stand organization. Visitor data, of course, must be collected for contact tracking from a stay of more than 50 minutes at the stand. Immediate collection of visitor data is mandatory when entering restaurants areas at the stands. So we need the next page. Some more hygiene protection measures are you have to take enough disinfection dispensers for staff and visitors onto the stand. And mouth and nose covers must be provided into sufficient numbers. Frequent cleaning of contact surfaces at the stand is mandatory. And another thing, stand parties are unfortunately not allowed at the moment. The catalogue of measures for protection against infection is updated regularly and continuously adapted to the current legal requirements. And at the last, we have also a hint for our FAQ list, or FAQ that we are collecting from questions like here in the webinar, and we are constantly preparing and publishing soon in German and English. So that's for the moment everything that I can tell you about the catalogue of measures. And to know what it means and how a stand could look like, we see some more examples, some layouts that will be presented by my colleague, Girgin. Thank you for listening.
Hi all, a warm welcome also from my side. My name is Girgin. I'm a member of the technical event management also. Here I'd like to give you some examples, some layouts of different stand constructions, 50, 70, 80 square meters and the 3D dimensional ones. There, please recognize that they are all only examples. Feel free to make your own concepts. Still the technical regulations apply. It means that the areas larger than 100 square meters have to be submitted for examination, but in case you'd like to have it less than 100 square meters, please do it. We are going to examine it also. There is no special COVID regulation examination, I mean. Still the technical regulations apply. Just to begin with 50 square meter, to give you an idea about how it could look and how it could work. As you see, there is a you mean the 1.5 meter distance, we all know, we all speak about it. This is priority number one. And the second thing you have to take into consideration is a different entrance and exit. It keeps you an eye how many people are going to enter and exit the area. As you see in the beginning, I mean, when you go enter, there's a waiting area. I mean, here you see 3 people. I mean, we're at a distance of 1.5 meters in front of the stand counter, information counter. They can register themselves. I mean, the area, the waiting space, you can, I mean, enlarge it or make it smaller according to your stand area. And when you enter the area, what I can recommend it for you is to print the whole floor, I mean stand floor, with arrows and also with the footprints to show the people where they can stand, to make them easier for you also. You see in the area they are overlapping also arrows. It means that the people has to keep an eye by 1.5 meter and just to take care of it. On the left-hand side, you see there a meeting table on left side and the right side. So just to give you an example, for example, on the left-hand side, both participants, they have distance of 1.5 meter. On the right-hand side, they can't keep this distance, and because of that, there is speed protection between them. And also on the top of it, there is also a table with 2 people. You see, they also have a distance of 1.5 meter. There's a storing area. When you enter there, I mean, your personal, it's recommended that they carry a mouth and nose protection mask. And you see a separate exit on the right-hand side, just to give you an idea how a small space looks. And we can change to a bigger one. The next page, please. The 70 square meter is nearly the same. The only difference is to show you on the left-hand side, there's a presentation area. The presentation area has a separate entrance and separate exit. And all participants, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, have a distance of 1.5 meter. On the top, you see also a meeting area. They cannot they don't have the distance of 1.5 meter, and on the table they have a speed protection, and the tables, they have a distance of 2 meters. And you see in the middle there's an exhibit. Also there 1.5 meter has to be kept. And in case, I mean, let's say, due to the high noise level in the hall, in some cases during a communication, the distance couldn't be kept 1.5 meter. Of course, then you have to come closer, then it means that we have to wear masks at this time. As you see on the right, on the top, there is a separate exit. We can turn this to the third one. This is a bigger one with an 8 square meter, nearly the same, everything. Only, as you see, due to the area, there are 2 different exits on the top, on the right-hand side. There is a lounge area. Also on the lounge area, they keep a distance of 1.5 meter. Also the tables, between the tables, a distance of 2 meters. Wherever you can keep a distance of 1.5 meter, it's okay. When not, speed protection has to be planned. On the top hand side, there is also a meeting room. On the meeting room, as you see, all 4 participants, they keep a distance of 1.5 meter. So we can change to the next page, please. And here, to make it more easier for you, there's a 3-dimensional one, a perspective one. As you see, the entrance. After that, the information counter, an exhibit to show you. On the right-hand side, there's a meeting room, which the 2 meter distance has to be kept, and also between the participants, 1.5 meter, when not a speed protection between them. So that's give you I hope that gives you a short idea how it looks, how it works. As I told you before in the beginning, please feel free, send us your concepts, and they are welcome to examine. And thank you for the extension. At the end, we have an email address for your questions. Please notice it also. Note it tvm-1@nesa.de. Have a nice day. Thank you.
So we'll switch places again, and here I am again. Thank you very much. My colleagues from the technical department, we already mentioned that all information for your stand builders, for yourself, for your planning are available in the Ligna shop. This is the link and how it appears online. We will also put this current presentation to our website, and it will be available in very short time, because all the information we gave you right now are, of course, complex information. They have to be adapted to your presentation. And this is, of course, a complicated thing that takes a while. So let me go now into the details, or the details we know right now when it comes to catering, networking, and stand parties. For the catering areas, special regulations appear and are relevant, and they are issued by the DEHOGA in Lower Saxony. DEHOGA is the regional and local association of hotels and restaurants that gave themselves security and hygienic concepts to restart after the shutdown of all restaurations here in Germany. And excuse me, and those recommendations for actions can be downloaded by the DEHOGA in Lower Saxony. They are always the current issues online, but we will also put a link on our FAQ site so that you can use it from there. All stand parties are currently prohibited. This is what my colleagues already said, but this is for our best and for your best, so that we can all act according to the regulations we need to take care of. Further information on that will be given in the second webinar, and we are planning this for October 2020. And right now we would like to go into details about questions and answers, and I hope that my colleagues put together a couple of questions that we can answer. To let you know, we are still waiting for the questions being handed in by the team so that we can So I got the information that there are currently no questions asked so far. Is there anything spontaneous? You would like to put into the chat right now? I'm trying to observe what you put into the chat. Yeah, I see the question, and I'm reading it to you. How can exhibitors manage groups of visitors? I mean, 4 or 5 people or the same company. This is something a person asked here, and I think that in general, I think for my first answer, spontaneous answer, is that they are documented anyway when they enter your booth. And if you put them together and you want to guide them through your exhibits, I think it's a good idea to provide them with masks, or they are having masks with them already so that they can stay into close company on the stand. And I think that makes the most sense, that it's then that you make masks obligatory when it comes to smaller groups that you want to handle as one unit. I hope this is, as an answer, helpful for you. There was another question from potential customers coming from the US. One thing we are concerned about is being able to travel from the United States to Germany. Of course, this might be an issue, but this is something we cannot foresee right now. And I think this is something we have to deal very individually with when the situation comes around. Another question, what is the current schedule for the booth assignments, which would include booth dimension and location? So what VDMA and Deutsche Messe are doing right now is we are taking all signed exhibitors and put them into the location. Some of the dimensions, of course, are changing due to the changed aisle width. And the planning right now is that we are going into stand confirmation in December and in January. But the talks with VDMA, who is responsible for the location during LIGNA, are already running in a high frequency. So the final location will be published in December, January. This is right now our schedule. Yes, the presentation will be handed via our website into this course. I'm trying to observe in the chat what kind of questions are not answered yet, but I think they are answered yet. And again, if you have more detailed questions in the course of the planning, please don't hesitate to just get in contact with us. I think that's the most easiest thing to do so that we can help you with your questions that occur when you are ahead with your planning. And these are my colleagues from the LIGNA-Team, Ms. Gründer, Ms. Elke Hein, and Ms. Stephanie Wagner, and of course the team from our technical department that just mentioned. The email address are available for your questions and of course for your observation of your stands. To give you, just maybe sometimes it's just a sparring partner to see if you're on the right way. Just let us know and we try to help you the best we can. Of course, you can get in contact with us through the different channels, social media, Facebook, and of course LinkedIn. Our FAQs are online and are updated constantly. Our shop is online, and of course AUMA, which is the German Association for Stand Builder for trade shows, are also publishing a lot of information about about all the regulations appearing. There just came an additional question into the chat that said, do we have an idea of confirmed visitors so far? No, we don't have any confirmed numbers of visitors so far, and we are, of course, starting visitor marketing. End of autumn, and we are right now already knowing that our many visitors are very interested in also digital formats, so that they can, and also a larger part of their companies enter LIGNA, enter the presentations and the possibility of going live, but maybe not traveling. So this is why we will also present during the second webinar new formats, and of course digital format, so a hybrid format parallel to LIGNA will be also part of this webinar. So for now, for today, I'm thanking you very much for your attendance and my colleagues for having time or spending time here with me and you to explain you a little about the regulations. And I think there's a lot of details we gave you today. And I think many questions will occur, and I hope that you just ask us directly and we will give our best to answer the best we can. So thank you very much for today. Everyone have a great day and a very good LIGNA presentation. Stay safe and healthy. We're looking forward to meet you first in the next webinars coming up, and then latest in May at LIGNA here in Hanover. Thank you very much. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.